It's basically taking the entire 3D game. It allows us to take the entire 3D game and put it inside the web browser. It sounds very straightforward, but there were a lot of challenges to make sure like this went in very cleanly. The idea was not to touch any of the game code what is there. So once the game code is written, say on the iPhone platform, if we want to just put it into a web browser, we could do it very easily. Take the same stuff and just put it inside. The plugin should take care like it's working on across all browsers. It's working across different architectures of rendering 3D, and that is something very unique to our engine which we were able to achieve. If you notice 3D games inside a web browser, you will either see it in Flash, Shockwave, or you would see, say, how many of you guys have played Quake online on the web browser? So this pretty much works in a similar way. The technology is similar, it works across. That's pretty much what it's capable of, and it is capable of much more than that. It has its entire the social API level where you write your Facebook, any social element on the iPhone, and you can easily take it into the web. You don't have to change anything, or everything is taken care by this the underlying layer of it. And that was a primary design goal what was there for the web plugin, and we were able to do that. If you see the pretty much the architecture, what's been detailed, it runs across all the browsers, and the rendering subsystem is specific. It was converted all the fixed point. If you're taking an iPhone SKU and you're putting it inside, in our case we took the iPhone SKU and you put it inside the web plugin, the web browser, it was doing your fixed to floating point OpenGLES emulation. It was doing all of that. So that we don't lose on any of the graphic performance on inside the web browser. It had something called as ICE web browser interface systems, which basically takes care of different web communications across just even making simple HTTP requests via the Xcode platform, the Apple platform, or via across your Symbian platform to the PC or this thing. Everything was taken care by this. We don't have to rewrite it. If you had to just say post this particular data, they submit my high score onto the server, that's all the developer had to write. And the underlying layer took care of the web communication across the various platforms. Pretty much the entire, if you see ActiveX and NP API, pretty much the standards for allowing you to use the hardware of the PC into the web browser. These are pretty basic technology which allows you to completely use your power of your PC and use hardware of your PC to interact with the web. And we use pretty much a standard on that. ActiveX obviously was used on IE, and NP API was across the rest of the platforms, Mozilla, Safari and Chrome. It allowed us, again, on the upper layer of it, if you see, we could support Facebook, obviously. We had our communication to our own databases, which were, if you guys attended the cloud computing, it was on Amazon, and we had all our stuff on Amazon. It was on all our database and everything. Entire deployment was on Amazon, and we had our entire content delivery. All our stuff was optimized for faster downloading on the online space. Just on the flow of how many of you guys have checked T20Fever.com? Not bad. I see. I'm surprised. Okay, do check it out, because you can see how we implement it technically, because it has its technical lines everywhere where you can just understand how we built it. And if you see this diagram, it's pretty much the art assets, everything flowed across to a downloadable binary. So all the levels, the textures, the sounds, everything was separate binary package, which you could change at any point of time, because this was very essential, because we could explore it for advertising options, we could get in sponsors, we don't have to change the code, we just change the asset and everything flows in. Very important for that. If you look at the bottom two parts, that is ActiveEyes and game code, both spoke to each other in a plugin and a DLL way. So ActiveEyes was only one-time install, it was a web install, and once you install it, you will be able to run any of ICE 3D DLLs, game DLLs over it. So any of our games would run on the web browser, and they worked very closely with each other. But very important point, what we ensured during the deployment is both were version controlled for content delivery. That's very important, because when you're playing the game, what it does a background check of which versions are all your binaries, are they the right version, should I pick up the latest files, everything, it does a check before it starts the game. And it checks for the plugin, it checks for anything latest. If you have fixed a patch, it automatically gets in. Anything on the game code side, it gets in. Anything on the art content, it gets in. So everything was very basic, version controlled and delivered to the consumer. So what we wanted the consumer to see at that point of time, we could just enable it on the fly. And it was that easily configurable. Just on a basic on the online system, what we had a entire microtransaction system built in this on the social aspect of it. Just on the background on the IPL, we had to deploy when we got the IPL license and we had to get the game out on the shelves. We hardly had any time. I think we had almost 8 weeks to get our entire game deployed across all these platforms. So it's a massive bliss, and to go through all the certification criteria of different systems, testing, and we had to build the entire online system from scratch to build in. And the good thing is we achieved it, and we deployed everything on time. Right before the IPL season, everything was there on stage. And one of the key elements which was there on the online space, we were experimenting with a lot of design because we just had so much little time, and we wanted to experiment with something which will allow us to get the online appeal more. And we did a very unique thing. We tried to sell all the IPL players to the masses. So basically what we said is we had a very interesting mode in the game called as power play mode. It basically rewards you for every shot you hit, and it penalizes you for every wicket or ball you miss. And it's an interesting, and we coupled it with something called as a multiplying factor of your player. So the IPL players had all the nice looking multiplying factors. So if you see, there's Amit Mishra who has, he has 99 on bowling and he has got 41 on batting. So basically it means like if he took 1 run, it would do 41 into 1. If it scored 4, it would do 41 into 4. In that way, we could come when the users were when people were playing the game, they had to have the IPL players in their team. And the only way they could have IPL players in their team was 2 ways. One, you could spend money to directly buy them. Second way was you play the game, you earn achievements, you unlock achievements. For every achievement unlock, basically if you hit 2 fours in a row or 3 fours in a row, you will get virtual currency. And with that you could buy the players. So either you don't spend you don't spend any money and you can still buy these players, or you want to move fast along the ladder and you can buy the players directly. And this really we really experienced for the first time how all the people along this on the web really caught on to it. Like they were buying players, they were playing, they were mixing matching their teams. They were seeing some of the top favorite cricketers whom we think oh, these are the top players, probably these will have in the team. We could know their patterns, we could know how different ways they were climbing the ladders. It was really exciting. And the heart, obviously, the monetization system was the microtransaction system, as we say. We were charging the end user in various ways where he could buy this in really small, like even to a minimal of 50 rupees, he could buy IG dollars, and he could buy literally a 50 multiplying factor. Like he could do that even at a 50 rupees, and he could do it so easily that he could just take a cell phone and just SMS like I need 50 rupees, and he just sent it to a short code and it credited the money into his account, and hence he could buy it. It was instant. And just mind you, the systems what we did on the billing systems, a lot of the billing systems were all integrated systems which we directly took it off the shelf. This is very important. It's not like we wrote the billing system from scratch. We didn't write it. Like the SMS system was in-house. Yes, it was. It's something which we do. India Games has its own proprietary system which we use across various of our games over the many years. But the net banking was again a third-party solution which we directly plugged in. We had various other options like Super Rewards, OfferPal, a lot of the other systems which we just integrated into our payment mechanism, and people could just use any of these to get virtual currency. and use it in the game. All transactions were obviously recorded on the back end. We had a proprietary MIS system which was tracking all of this, and we could validate, or we could fix, we could do a lot of things. It was a very powerful MIS, which is again proprietary what we created. This was already done before, like the MIS was already set up before. We didn't have to write it during the production. But rest, all the systems we had to take care during the production phase of those 8 weeks. Online features, on the iPhone platform, we use the Facebook API very extensively. If you see from the screenshots, if you just log in your information, it will pull up all your friends' information, the photographs, the names. It would allow you, like if you see on a screenshot over there, it will post what achievement you hit directly online on your wall. It would push that. There was a unique Facebook match mode where you could just say, hey, I want to play a Facebook match mode with my friends, everything offline. But it would pull up all your friends, make it part of your team, and you will just play against them. And if you got someone out, or you hit someone, hit 50 runs against your friend, you could post it on your wall instantly against an achievement, nice looking icon on the web. So that was the virality aspect of it, which was there on the offline, on the iPhone SKU, which was also same way taken across the online space. Again, on all the Facebook stuff, everything was provided by Facebook. We just go to developerfacebook.com, we get all the stuff for integrating through various platforms. And we had to integrate, but all of this during the development phase. It's pretty much, there's some of the screenshots from the handset itself, like how it's showing. So you get an achievement, you can post a comment, you can write your own custom comment on it across your achievement, and you can just post it online. We also integrated third-party service. We didn't have time now, as a game developer, like you won't have time to write every subsystem. And we use a third-party service called a Scolo. It's similar to a Crystal SDK or any of the OpenFaint or anything out there. And that time we went with Scolo, and it is pretty robust, and it's pretty active. Like I just logged in a week back, and people are still playing, and you're creating the avatars, and it was pretty much active. I was happy to see that. It handled all your leaderboard. It handled you could create avatars. You could challenge your score against another player, and if the player accepts the challenge, then you get virtual currency. So things like that you could do around it. Again, it was pretty much integrated. You could just take the system and then put it integrated with your project. We had little problems in integrating it because we were one of the first people who were taking the system and integrating into the game. The first time we integrated this almost a year back in our T20 Fever game, not in the IPL game. So we learned a lot of learnings from it, and but it was pretty good on that. Just on the online side, there were a lot of things, basic things what we used. We used all the server-side scripting was done using PHP. We used a simple MySQL DB, which when we took it to Amazon, we used their RD database system to take it on the Amazon to get the most out of their systems. All communication of front end was done in the JSON standard passing format. All game-sensitive data like scores, ranking, ball-by-ball data we were tracking. It was interesting because initially we got the ball-by-ball data not for data mining. We got it so that we could identify cheaters. So we knew if someone posted a wrong score, we went through actually ball-by-ball data and show like did he come down with the score or not. That's the only way we could track initially when we deployed it and we got it out live. So we had one guy dedicated to find out all the cheaters, and in the MS we had people whom we can tick mark as cheaters and we could block them.